Let's suppose that you had 45 days remaining until the LSAT. Well, of course, there are 45 days remaining until the LSAT. And so let's think about how should you prep over that period. Now, I'm going to recommend, I'll say this outright, you should not allow only 45 days to prepare for the LSAT. I recommend a minimum of 2 to 3 months and ideally 5 to 6 months to reach your fullest potential on the LSAT. So with 45 days remaining, most students, I hope, have already built the foundation. They've already worked on their pacing, and now the remaining time will be devoted primarily to taking full-length timed practice tests and reviewing them in depth. But I know life gets in the way. Maybe you're busy with work or with school or with family, and you haven't yet had time to really put in the work until now. And the next LSAT coming up is your last chance to take it. So you want to give it your all during these last 45 days. I'm going to share with you my framework for creating an LSAT study plan. I call it the LASER approach to LSAT prep. LASER is an acronym standing for Learning, Accuracy, Sections, Exams, and Review. And I'm going to share with you how I would allocate these 5 phases over the course of the remaining 45 days until the LSAT. The first 11 days out of 45 should be devoted to the learning phase. This involves getting the basics down, reading LSAT prep textbooks, watching course lesson videos, gaining a solid understanding of the different sections and the different question types on the test. You don't need to have solid accuracy here. This period is just to get that basic familiarity so that you know the proper perspective from which to view each section and each question type. And there is a lot, of course. There are, for example, roughly 15 different types of logical reasoning questions. You don't need to master all 15. I would recommend focusing on the most common, for example, inference questions, necessary assumption, and flaw as the most common types of logical reasoning questions. Then after the first 11 days building that foundation, you focus on accuracy, drilling questions by type to gain a deeper understanding of the differences and the nuances, for example, between necessary assumption questions and sufficient assumption questions in logical reasoning. That's how you spend those second 11 days. So days 12 through 23, for example, you're focusing on accuracy. Then for the following 11 days, you work on your pacing with individual timed sections. You figure out how to allocate your time over the course of the section. For example, in logical reasoning, the first 10 questions tend to be the easiest. Questions 15 through 23 tend to be the most difficult. And so you figure out how to speed up on the easier questions so that you have time for the tougher ones that truly need it. Then for the next 11 days, you focus on taking full-length timed practice tests, never on consecutive days though, maybe at most every other day. So over the course of these 11 days, maybe you're taking 3 exams, 4 maximum, because of course you don't want to burn out, and you want to allow plenty of time for our review in between taking those full-length time practice tests. So that's the LASER approach: learning in the first 11 days, accuracy in the second 11 days, sections in the third period of 11 days, exams in that last period of 11 days, and for that single final remaining day, day 45, you take the day off to rest and relax. You've earned it. You want to walk into the exam feeling cool and calm and ready to crush it. Of course, this is just a general framework for your LSAT study plan. And again, big caveat here is that I don't recommend spending only 45 days on your LSAT prep. I recommend minimum 2 to 3 months, ideally 5 to 6 months to reach your fullest potential. Now let's talk about triage given the limited time that you have in only a 45-day period before the test. I mentioned in logical reasoning, the biggest question types to focus on: necessary assumption, inference, and flaw. Necessary assumption questions, distinguishing them from sufficient assumption questions. Within the family of inference, you have must be true and most strongly supported. And then you also have flaw questions as the other big category of logical reasoning questions. Of course, for reading comprehension, your low-hanging fruit is going to be any global general main idea style questions like main idea, primary purpose, best title, tone, author's opinion, anything general in nature. You focus on that. For logic games, you focus on ordering games and grouping games. You don't want to focus on the rare game types that hardly ever show up. Of course, if you had 3 months, I'd say cover every type of question. If you had 6 months, even better. Cover every single type of question, even the rare ones. But with limited time and only 45 days, you got to focus on the lowest hanging fruit, that's going to be the most impactful. Now, if you'd like my help in crafting a more personalized day-by-day study plan, that is something we offer at LSAT Unplugged, whether you're joining our small group coaching program or our private one-on-one coaching service, where we will work with you consistently over the next 45 days, or whenever you're taking the LSAT, to make sure that you get as much as possible out of your prep, hit your fullest potential within this very limited time constraint in the lead up to the LSAT. If you're interested in finding out more, you can check out the links below the video to book a call with me and my team. We'd be glad to help you out. And if you found the video helpful, please do me a favor and share it with someone who needs to see it. It really does make a difference. And in the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.